Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. Now that the PS4 Pro has been released and the hype has died down somewhat, it's time to really look back and whether or not the PS4 Pro is really everything that we had hoped for and everything that Sony had quote unquote promised. And also at the same time, if you were really going to go for 4K gaming, whether or not the PC is still the better alternative if you are thinking about 4K gaming. Now, I will come out and say that, for the PS4 Pro, I was pretty interested, and even somewhat excited on the prospect of having a 4K gaming on a console. Realistically, I knew that it wasn't going to be possible to get true 4K. So I wasn't sure how Sony was going to do this, especially when it was in development, and at the same time, it was still under the code name of the PS4 Neo. And now that it's been released and at the price of $399, we finally know now how Sony was able to accomplish this, and also some of the pros and cons of what PS4 Pro offers in terms not only of the 4K experience, but also the value proposition as well, and then also some of the issues that it has. And then I also want to talk about how this compares to its competitor, its biggest competitor when it comes to 4K gaming, which is the PC market, and also to another extent, the Xbox One, specifically the Xbox One Slim, since the Xbox Project Scorpio won't be out for another year. Now, one of the things that everybody was interested in early on is how is the PS4 Pro actually going to achieve 4K? And this is something that Sony really touted, that this is really going to be for people who want to enjoy 4K gaming and 4K content. And if you are a PC gamer, you know that at the price of $399, it is simply not possible to get true 4K gaming. It's just really no way you could do that at this price point. And once the PS4 Pro was released and everybody knew the specs, we now know how they were able to do this, and they were able to do this with the technology of checkerboarding. It's a checkerboard upscaling. And so basically what this means is it's going to give you really a lot better quality. It is 4K per se, but it's not true native 4K versus what you get on the PC, okay? And, if you actually look at the 4K content that's available on the PS4 Pro, specifically the games that they showcase, if you compare that side by side, it's pretty hard to tell that this isn't true 4K, and it actually looks really good. However, that's really comes with some caveats, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But so that's one thing, they were touting this, Sony was touting this, that it's all about 4K, okay? And in some cases, they really were correct, some games just simply look better, actually way better when it comes to the PS4 Pro versus the standard PS4. Some of the games that I could think of right off the bat is the Tomb Raider game. That definitely does look better on the PS4 Pro versus regular PS4. And also Infamous. I think Infamous looked better on there as well. And, there's a few other games, but overall, if you were watching this on a standard TV, 1080p, even at a 4K TV, at a normal game playing distance, it's kind of hard to tell. That's my personal opinion, because the PS4, despite being an older system, relative to technology, the graphics still look really good. Okay, now let's talk about some of the issues that have basically emerged once the PS4 Pro was released. So one of the big issues that people are having right now is the fact that the PS4 Pro doesn't work with some TVs, specifically Samsung and Vizio. And the problems that I've seen is the fact that, let's say for the Vizio, if you have a 4K Vizio TV, when you actually connect it straight to the TV, which is normal, it shows a black screen, which isn't good. And I've seen some videos on YouTube where you would have to go through multiple systems and converters. I would say kind of like converters, but to finally get this to output at 4K, which is bad. It should just work. It's a console. So that's one thing. Some other problems that people are complaining about, and rightfully so, is the fact that some of the games actually goes down in performance whenever you are playing this on the 4K mode of the PS4 Pro, which is definitely another bad thing. I mean, this is where I really feel like in a lot of cases, the console industry, it's kind of going backwards, in my opinion. That's really why I'm not the biggest fan of modern consoles or just modern gamings in general, but specifically on consoles. I mean, consoles were basically the places where, historically you would put your game in and then you would just play, but that is not the case anymore. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and get into the realm of the PS4 Pro versus gaming on a PC. Now, if you are actually a gamer, a PC gamer, you know that there are so many ways that you can build a PC. Now, at the price point of $400, you would think that you can't get a powerful PC at that price point. But if you are in the PC building niche or in the PC gaming niche, you would know that you could build an extremely powerful PC for gaming. Below $500, or there's even some for $300, and there's some even lower. Okay. Now, the reason why I wanted to get into this is because, okay, so the Sony PS4 Pro, it's not true 4K. Okay, and I don't expect you to get true 4K even out of these PCs at this budget price. However, these PCs, especially with the new graphics card that are out, the budget graphics card, like the AMD RX 480, 470, or some of the NVIDIA, I think it's the GTX, it's not the 1080, but maybe like the 1050s, they are producing some amazing graphics at a really budget-friendly price, okay? So if I had to compare the two, granted, you're still not going to get 4K gaming at this price. However, you are going to be able to play a lot of games at their highest or near highest settings. And if you compare that to the PS4 Pro, the PS4 Pro, in a lot of ways, even the Xbox, they are basically PCs now. A lot of their SoCs, their GPUs, they are built from their PC related cousins. For example, the Sony PS4 Pro, if you know, it's based upon the AMD architecture. So the CPU is the AMD Jaguar, and the new PS4 Pro, the graphics card, the GPU in there is actually a variant basically of the RX 480 and the RX 470. It's really hard to compare a PC apples to apples to the consoles. If you compare the spec for spec, then hands down you're going to get more out of a PC. Even if it is a budget PC, you could put a more powerful GPU in there. You're going to get more RAM. There's so many more options on a PC. And and you're also going to be able to upgrade as well. However, with consoles, even though specs-wise, technically they are not as powerful, since it is a console and it's only one primary architecture, then developers can optimize games a lot better on consoles than they can on a PC. Henceforth, you will get some really amazing looking games on these consoles, and they would be very comparable in some cases to playing it on a PC. And so with the PS4 Pro, I really see it as a mid-range or budget PC. And a lot of the games that they have in there, they are on their lower graphics settings. And this is where there's the whole issue with the current consoles that we have right now. So my whole thought on the whole current modern consoles is the fact that, like I said earlier, they are more like PCs, meaning you're going to have to download your games. There are a lot of patches on these games, and then on top of it, a lot of glitches, like bugs, like just what I mentioned earlier. With the PS4 Pro, with not outputting 4K, with games having performance issues, and even on the PS4 Pro, you actually can adjust the graphics settings now. So that really sounds a lot like a PC gaming experience, and so and that shouldn't be, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to go through all that just to play your games on a console. The whole idea of a console was to be a lot more streamlined, a lot easier. You just plug and play. Okay, and that's not the case anymore. And this is where I'm on this page with SteamOS. I really thought, and it's not over yet, but I really thought that SteamOS would be that bridge. It would be the one where you would get the power and flexibility of a PC, but with the ease of use and convenience of a console. Now, SteamOS at this point, it is just not, reached the, I guess not even close to reaching its potential of what Steam and Valve had originally planned it out to be. But like I said, it's still early. I'm still hoping that they do reach that because I would love to have the power for the most part, a more powerful PC and modular experience while having that big screen experience. So that hasn't panned out yet, but this is what I was hoping that we would have. But now, with modern consoles, what we have is something that's kind of a PC and it's kind of a console, and just from a user experience point of view, it just does not work. And that's where I really do not see the value in getting the PS4 Pro. The only reasons, in my opinion, I would see getting that, or basically any modern console, is number one, for the exclusive games that you would not get on the PC. And then the other thing is that if you are already in the Sony ecosystem or the Microsoft ecosystem, then it makes sense for you to, just get their respective consoles. That kind of makes sense. But if I had to think about it objectively, especially compared to PC gaming, I just don't see the value there, unless you had to get those console-specific games. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was Xbox and what this really means with the release of the PS4 Pro. So here's where things get kind of weird. Okay, you would think that whenever the PS4 Pro was released, or even the announcement of it, sales of the Xbox One would go down. Specifically, when Xbox released the Xbox One S. But as a matter of fact, for the past few months, the Xbox One S has actually been outselling the PS4. And now with the PS4 Pro being released and people really seeing what it's all about, I'm thinking the Xbox One S is going to really not be hurt by this. And if anything, they're probably going to sell more. Let me give you some of the reasons for the Xbox One S. So at the same price as the new baseline PS4, you're going to get a console that can actually do 4K content, meaning video streaming and force. It's going to have higher fidelity graphics than a normal Xbox One with HDR. And most importantly, this is something that I really did not expect. You're going to get a 4K Blu-ray player in here that could do Ultra HD Blu-ray. Now, why this is important and why this is really crazy is the fact that the Sony's PS4 Pro cannot play Ultra HD Blu-ray. And what's even funnier about that is that Sony is actually the one who developed the Blu-ray technology. That makes absolutely no sense, regardless of whatever things that Sony is saying that of why they don't have this. I mean, if you know about any of these technologies, Sony owns the patents to all these Blu-ray technologies, which means that anybody who makes a Blu-ray player has to pay Sony a fee. But Sony themselves does not have an Ultra HD Blu-ray player in their own console, whereas their competitor Microsoft has that. That is really baffling to me, and at the same time, I like this design much better than I do the PS4 Pro. So I mean, just those things alone, and they're able to offer it at a lower price. That just boggles my mind, And if I go back to the whole PS4 gaming experience, the 4K gaming experience in the PS4 Pro, at this point, I really do not see the games being that significantly better. And then when you're still having these glitches early on, that experience is just not a great experience. And I don't think a lot of people are willing to shell out an additional $100. And especially if you are also a PC gamer and you could upgrade your GPU, I really do not see the value in getting the PS4 Pro, at this point. So that is where I'm really at with it right now. I was waiting for the PS4 Pro to be released because, once again, as I mentioned earlier, I thought about getting into the consoles because there's some console-specific games that I do want to play that are not available on the PC. But at the same time, I am building a Linux PC, and I know more games are coming, and I know I'm going to get a lot more power out of that, and then after seeing the PS4 Pro and everything that it offers, I really do not think it was everything that we had hoped it would be. So it's kind of disappointing. And if I had to choose right now, if I was going to buy a modern console, I would definitely go for the Xbox One S versus the PS4 base model and the PS4 Pro, because for the same price as the base model, I think you are definitely getting a better value, and you're getting a console that can play Ultra HD Blu-ray. Some people might not care about that, but I think that matters if you enjoy consuming high quality content. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the PS4 Pro versus the PC experience, and also versus the Xbox One S. And I really was wanting to talk about the whole 4K aspect of it, because that's going to become a big thing. I just did not think the PS4 Pro lived up to the hype. So that's pretty much it for this episode. I know it's kind of long and winded, but I just had to give my thoughts on it. I was really expecting a lot from it. Thanks for checking out this episode. And as always, if you like these videos, be sure to click on the subscribe button. And for full written content, audio content, and additional geek stuff, head over to geekoutdoors.com, and I'll see you outdoors on the very next episode.